The news in English with Iris Stewart. Good morning, Iris.
Good morning, Sophie.
The headlines.
Almost 15,000 pupils ready to collect PESAC results this morning in a key step towards secondary school placement. Tripartite talks resume as salary compensation enters critical phase. Report on Creole in Parliament officially submitted to the Prime Minister's office. Life sentence handed down yesterday for Umair Nubibakas sends strong message against femicide. Cybercrime surge triggers new SIM card for online child protection. Constitutional Review Commission to be set up to strengthen fundamental rights. Met Services says summer rainfall expected to be well above normal. In world news, US plans new travel rules requiring social media checks for visa-free visitors. And in sports news, Champions League Matchday 6 sees English clubs shine. 15,000 pupils are experiencing a decisive moment today as PESAC results are issued in primary schools across the country. Between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m, parents and children head to schools to collect both the results and the admission letter for secondary school, a key step that brings stress, anticipation and hope to many families. The day begins very early at the Mauritius Examination Syndicate headquarters in Redri, where school officials have collected the documents to prepare for the arrival of parents. Meanwhile, outside several schools, emotions will be running high, with some pupils seem confident, others anxious, but all awaiting the document that will determine the next stage of their academic journey. The Mauritius Examination Syndicate is expected to release the national pass rate soon. A second round of tripartite discussions on salary compensation has been called by Prime Minister Dr. Navin Ramgoolam today, after an initial meeting marked by diverging positions between unions, employers and government. This next session is expected to be decisive in determining the adjustment that will apply in 2026. Social partners will attempt to reach consensus as inflation and the cost of living remain major concerns. The report on the introduction of Mauritian Creole in Parliament has now been finalized and submitted to the Prime Minister's office. The confirmation was given by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Shirin Orimadi Sifra, in response to questions from the press. She spoke during the presentation of the main representatives and participants of the India-Oceania Regional Francophone Youth Parliament. And moving now to the verdict delivered yesterday at the Assize, a ruling that sends a strong message against femicide. Umair Nubibakas has been sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of his ex-wife, Sheena Buliram. The sentence was handed down by Judge Mehdi Manrakan. Lovina Sophie and Jenny Yalapa tell us more.
The tragedy unfolded on 8 November 2019 in a sugarcane field at Condemas-Pavé when Umair Nubibakas was only 28 years old. In court, the accused expressed remorse and asked for leniency, saying he hoped to one day reconnect with his daughter. But the court found that the evidence revealed a horrifying, violent and premeditated murder of a young woman who was only 24, a particularly shocking case of femicide. Sheena and Umair had met at 17 and secretly married in 2013. Their marriage ended in 2016 due to accused violence. Obsessed with her, he even got a job at the hotel where Sheena worked and had harassed her multiple times. Convinced that Sheena was seeing someone else, Umair Nubibakas planned her murder. On 8 November, after buying a knife, he followed Sheena, forced her into his car and took her to several isolated locations. She was beaten, strangled and violently assaulted before being dragged into a sugarcane field where she was stabbed repeatedly. The judge described the acts as extremely brutal: kidnapping, assault, torture, sexual violence and multiple stab wounds. Despite his plea for leniency, the judge ruled that the severity of these acts placed this case among those where the maximum sentence is required. According to the autopsy report, Sheena Buliram had received 22 stab wounds.
Cybercrime is taking a particularly alarming turn in Mauritius. Figures show that 2,773 women reported online incidents compared to 2,460 men in 2024. Children are increasingly also exposed to dangerous content, including suicide games and extreme online challenges that can lead to tragic consequences. In response, the government is launching the SIM card for online child protection, a new tool designed to better safeguard young people in the digital world. More in this report by Maya Lachman.
In Mauritius, 17 cases of cybercrime are reported every day. Recent statistics reveal that girls and women are the primary victims of these online attacks. These practices have become common, but can sometimes lead to irreparable acts. Artificial intelligence is also being increasingly used by cybercriminals. Manipulated photos and videos are circulating with the intention to harm, particularly exposing children to these new dangers. In response to this threat, the government has decided to collaborate with telecom operators in Mauritius to introduce a SIM card dedicated to protecting children online. This special card will have restrictions aimed at protecting minors from harmful websites and certain dangerous content on social media platforms.
L'ICTA, qui le régulateur du secteur, il fait issue une directive à tout un opérateur pour qu'il un opérateur offre un package avec la protection en ligne pour les enfants. Et nous avons toutes qualité affaires sur l'internet aujourd'hui. Nous avons un contenu qui est illégal, qui est harmful. Nous avons un contenu qui fait self-mutilation. Et nous avons un challenge qui est seulement une personne présente à les enfants. Et nous avons aussi une personne sur l'internet qui a le droit de zoker pour faire transfert de la drogue. Il est important qui nous arrête ça dans Maurice.
The project also includes a second phase, which will focus on internet devices in households.
The Constitutional Review Commission will soon be established following an announcement made by the Attorney General yesterday. The commission will aim to protect fundamental rights. Gavin Glover was speaking at a ceremony marking International Human Rights Day on 10 December, organized by the National Human Rights Commission and attended by several dignitaries. Take a listen to this report.
Security, water, food, shelter, and equal opportunities. This year, the theme for International Human Rights Day revolves around these essential daily needs. The National Human Rights Commission continues to work towards ensuring the protection of these rights. Emphasis is also placed on how we treat one another, whether at home, in the workplace, or in educational institutions. Small initiatives can lead to changes in the daily lives of Mauritians. For example, the report on problems in detention centres recommended that incidents in prison should not happen. Also, regarding the Air Mauritius case, an employer cannot sanction an employee if the latter goes to court. For the first time in the history, we have filed a case in court for a prisoner who has stayed in prison more than he should have.
Et comment dire, première fois dans l'histoire, nous finissons rentrer un cas devant la cour dans le cas d'un prisonnier qui a fait un mauvais computation de ce sentence. Il peut rester en prison plus que le temps qu'il est supposé rester.
One of the government's priorities remain the protection of every citizen's right. The establishment of the Constitutional Review Commission has been announced and will be implemented soon. The Prime Minister has also established the person who will chair the commission, and we are setting up the commission before the end of the year. Probably we will have to pass a bill so that the commission starts working. We hope to have the first interim report within 6 months after setting up the commission. One of the goals of this day is also to remind us that in a world increasingly torn apart by conflicts, every human life holds equal value and deserves the same consideration.
And turning now to the rainy season, according to the latest projections from the Vakwa Meteorological Services, the summer ahead is expected to be considerably wetter than normal. Forecasts indicate around 745 millimeters of rain by the end of summer season on 30 April. Already in November, some 140 millimeters of rain were recorded across the island, with the east among the wettest regions. And it's 10 minutes after 9. You're listening to RM1, where we move to international news. Foreign travelers who do not need a visa to enter the United States may soon be required to provide the Department of Homeland Security with detailed information about their social media accounts, email history, and extended family background before being authorized to travel. A notice published yesterday in the Federal Register states that Customs and Border Protection is proposing to collect 5 years of social media data from visa waiver program travelers using the ESTA system. The measure aligns with the Trump administration's increased monitoring of international travelers and immigrants. And finally in sports, in the second part of match day 6 of the UEFA Champions League, English clubs delivered standout performances. Manchester City beat Real Madrid 2-1. Rodrigo opened the scoring for Madrid, but Nico O'Reilly levelled before Erling Haaland secured victory from the penalty post. Real Madrid, with Kylian Mbappe left on the bench, drops to 7th place. Arsenal extended their perfect run with a 3-0 win away at Club Brugge thanks to a brace from Noni Madueke and a goal from Gabriel Martinelli. The Gunners thus lead the group with 18 points. Paris Saint-Germain registered a rare 0-0 draw against Atletico Bilbao, their first goalless Champions League match in over 10 years. And meanwhile, Newcastle drew 2-2 with Bayer Leverkusen, but remained 12th behind Liverpool, Dortmund and Tottenham. Borussia Dortmund also drew 2-2, this time with Bodo Glimt. And that's all from me this morning. Thanks so much for listening. Stay tuned now to the Intermediate playlist. Until 10 a.m.